Yo, what's going on, everybody? So Boruto chapter 37 is out after a very long wait. We are actually seeing Naruto versus Jigen, but not just that, Sasuke came back. Sasuke came back like Nas did when Jay-Z dropped Takeover. We want to get more in the modern time. This is the same thing that Drake did when he dropped back to back. Like Sasuke came in like, I'm about to end this dude's whole career. God dog, man. So obvious with that being said, if you're an anime only viewer, obviously this is gonna have spoilers. And if you're not reading the Boruto manga right now, I don't know what the hell you're doing, because dude, the manga's been on fire for almost 2 years now. Oh my god. So with that being said, if you're still here, I'm assuming you're completely okay with spoilers. Okay, so I gotta say this. I gotta just start off with this, right? I love what Kodachi decided to do here. It's almost as if Kodachi is aware of a lot of the criticisms that people have had. So one of the big things that we've all been talking about is the fact that, damn, it seems like every time we see Naruto and Sasuke fight, they're always nerfed. We never really get to see them go full power. If you go back to that big knockdown, drag 'em out slugfest that was Naruto versus Delta with a whole bunch of hand-to-hand combat, I pointed out right from the jump, I said, okay, Naruto's fighting, he's in his stage of 6 pass QB chakra mode, and yet Naruto feels like he is fighting in a more reserved manner. He can't really go all out, because if he launches a Biju Dama, all of a sudden he's gonna blow up the Hidden Leaf Village. And so that was something that really bugged me at the time, but at the same time I understood why they did it, because Naruto and Sasuke are so powerful. So when this chapter starts out, you're thinking, oh god, Naruto's powered up, Jigen's powered up, they got their auras flaring, and they're getting ready to fight inside the household. I was totally expecting one of those moments where Jigen's like, oh, I'm sorry Naruto, I knocked over your pillow cushions, allow me to straighten them out for a moment. And instead you get Kawaki saying, I surrender. So just in that one moment, you see a lot of character development with Kawaki. You see a lot of character development because he's making a very smart decision, and he's also talking out of love. So it's clear that a significant amount of time has passed in the amount of time that he spent living in the Uzumaki household, because he's developed very strong feelings for Naruto. And I like how you get one of those shots where you actually see the scientific ninja tool arm that is comprised of Naruto's chakra, and it's on Kawaki, and you get very good emphasis on that when Kawaki's talking about how he doesn't want anything to happen to Naruto, and he's basically giving himself up in order to protect Naruto. And that's what I love right there. And I love how Jigen just nonchalantly just looking like, okay, that's cool, you know, I have no problem with that. If you're gonna surrender, there's no type of issues. And Naruto bosses up in that moment. And I gotta give Ikimoto credit for this. I really gotta give him credit, because I religiously slammed him on getting lazy with the panels. And in a chapter like this, there are a few small nitpicks in terms of motion when it comes to the action sequences, but when it comes to just the expressions on the characters, when it comes to that, Ikimoto took a page out of Kishimoto's book. I really like this. In particular, the page where you see you see Kawaki saying that he's stronger than Delta, that Jigen is on a completely different level. You get that half shot of Jigen, you see the movement of Kawaki said, you see a lot of good stuff in that moment. I really like that. Like Ikimoto utilized, I believe, 7 panels on that page, and for Ikimoto that's a lot, because Ikimoto typically only uses 4, if we're lucky 5 panels. Every now and then we get a lot like how we just got here. So I really like that. That's gonna make it really easy when the animation team gets a hold of this chapter, probably like in 2026, but that's gonna make it really easy at that point. Now the other thing that I did like about this is how when Naruto just gets super serious and he just steps in and he tells Kawaki, like, there's no problem now, Kawaki, back up. Jigen, I've got a huge problem with this, you piece of crap. And when Kawaki's saying, like, this wasn't your business to begin with, why don't you just butt out, why don't you just get lost? What I love about this is how, on a very undertone way, you actually see Kawaki trying to reject Naruto. And this is the same guy who, as he was growing up, everybody rejected him. So people telling Naruto to butt out, this isn't his business, to mind his own business, to go kill himself, stuff like that Naruto is used to. And so Naruto immediately just looks looks at him, he's like, look, I know you care about me, but as the Hokage, I can't just ignore something like this. I'm supposed to protect everyone in the village. And when I read that line, it resonated so deeply, because in that moment, I just thought back to Kid Naruto. I thought back to Kid Naruto, who was sitting on the swing, which shout out to Swing Sama, being there for every single flashback in the Naruto series. I was thinking about Naruto just on that swing in chapter 1 with his head down, wanting to become a ninja. And you get that moment when he's at the ramen shop and he's telling Iruka that, you know, he wants to be Hokage one day. And then you look at it, and Naruto went from being alone in chapter 1 to now in chapter 37 of Boruto, he's fighting to protect another outsider. Like, just little small things like that, how everything's connected. That is very beautiful. I don't know if that was accidental brilliance on Kodachi's part when he wrote that scene, but given Kodachi has a pretty good understanding of the Naruto lore, I'm inclined to think that this was done on purpose. I really like that. And what I do gotta say is, I know a lot of people are probably gonna be pissed off at the fact that Jigen was able to teleport Naruto without any type of warning, but what I will say is I like the fact that Naruto is removed from any type of handicap, because he's in another dimension separate of Konoha. And even Naruto says it himself. He says, I can go all out here. I like that. I like that, because I was so worried, and if you follow me on Twitter, I talked about this last night. I was so worried that you're gonna have like the Konoha kids, so that'd be like Shikadai and Nojin and Sarada and Boruto and Mitsuki just showing up and handicapping Naruto. I was so worried about that. That was my biggest fear when it came to the Naruto versus Delta fight, that Himawari was going to be used against Naruto, and that's exactly what happened. Well, in this instance, we see Naruto, and you get that moment where it almost feels as if Jigen's just going to leave him there, and it's just like, oh god, is that where Kawaki sent Naruto? Because Jigen and Kawaki's abilities appear to be linked in some type of way. And what I like about this is how, as Jigen's about to leave, right, Sasuke just shows up and just kicks this dude right in the face. I love Sasuke, man. And what I like about this, when you look at the art style, when you really look at the art style on that is so classic Akira Toriyama. And for those of you who don't understand why I'm making a Dragon Ball reference on a Boruto manga chapter review, when you look at the fighting styles that you see in the Boruto manga, Ikimoto has openly said that he's very heavily influenced by Akira Toriyama, that his influence is more Toriyama and less Masashi Kishimoto. And in that moment right there, that was a very similar scene to what you've seen with Vegeta, when Vegeta shows up and he kicks Android 19 when he's absorbing the chakra of Son Goku. I mean, it's a little bit different aesthetically, but there's a few cues to it that it just made me think back to. And if you have not read the Dragon Ball manga, I implore you to read it, because you'll be able to see a lot of the stuff that Ikimoto is trying to do artistically. But what I like about this is how, as Naruto's getting ready to start fighting, right, and you start seeing him use the Rasengan and Jigen's able to absorb it, you see all of a sudden that Jigen points his finger at Naruto, and you see the chakra rods just shoot out of him. And that was the first instance that, oh god, there's something more to Jigen's power. And what I like about this is how Sasuke allows himself, at least I believe this, that Sasuke allowed himself to get stabbed in order to kind of observe very closely. And what I like about this is you see Sasuke's Sharingan as this is happening. Like, there's a panel where Sasuke has a shocked expression on his face, but both his Rinnegan and his Sharingan are watching. And what I like about it is right above that, you see the finger being pointed. It's almost as if Ikimoto drew that from Sasuke's perspective, to where we're getting the notion that Sasuke's breaking down his jutsu. For those of you who need a casual reminder, that's one of the abilities of the Sharingan Eye of Insight, being able to break down jutsu and the mechanics and the weaknesses of them as they're happening in real time, on top of being able to predict movements. Like, I like this moment right here. And what I really enjoy about it is how Naruto starts using shadow clones. That's something that a lot of people like, why doesn't Naruto just spam shadow clones? That's how Naruto likes to fight. Well, again, every instance that we've seen Naruto before, as he was fighting in the Boruto manga, when he fought against Momoshiki, in that Momoshiki battle, the reason why he can use shadow clones and spam them is Naruto wasn't at full power. And so when you're fighting an unknown foe who has a huge amount of chakra and you don't know the depths of his power, you can't afford to waste chakra using shadow clones like that. You have to fight very conservatively and yet fight very aggressively at the same time. And that's what you saw Naruto and Sasuke in that moment. Well, right here, you see Naruto using his shadow clones. And what you see is he's going in and he's fighting Jigen, and Jigen is once again shooting out those chakra rods. And you get another shot as Naruto's shadow clones are being just completely dismantled. You get a shot of Sasuke where Sasuke is watching, and in particular his Sharingan is active and Sasuke is just breaking it all down. And when Jigen appears to make himself vanish, right, and Naruto's like, oh my god, he disappeared, Sasuke again, he has a shocked expression on his face. I really like what Ikimoto's doing here, because as he's building up to the reveal that Sasuke's breaking down his jutsu, you see the cues there. You see the cues there. It's being built up in a very beautiful way. I have to tip my hat to Ikimoto, because I say so many times on these chapter reviews that Ikimoto leaves a lot of small moments on the table. In the past, Ikimoto will just focus on the brawling. So I really like this. I like these very subtle details. And what I would say is that would be a very good double page spread moment. This would be my critique on this. When you see Jigen and he's in the air above Naruto and he's about to launch his jutsu again, and he pierces all of Naruto's shadow clones with those chakra rods. What would be really nice is if that was a double page spread and you saw Jigen just coming out of nowhere, and you get that very expressive shot of Jigen, and then you see the shadow clones with the chakra rods piercing through them. I think that'd be really good, because it would give us an opportunity to get emphasis on how fast Jigen's moving at this point, as well as just to see the expressiveness of that art. I think that would have been really good. I think that was a missed opportunity for a double page spread. And what I like about this is how after that happens, Sasuke says, okay, that's his deal, so he can shrink objects. And what immediately came to my mind at this point was, oh god, so this is what he did with Delta. When we all thought that he reversed time and when he destroyed that table and everything, it wasn't that. He shrank it and brought it back. I think that's what it is. I would have to go back to that chapter where he's having that dinner with Delta, but I think that's what happened in that moment. I'd be very interested to see if that's actually what happened. And if that's the case, Jigen's abilities have been telegraphed to us as far back as the early introduction of Kar. I really like that. And what I really like about this moment is how, as Sasuke's breaking everything down, Jigen is giving this dude the glare of death. He's giving the glare of death. And what I like is how Sasuke's saying, well, hold on, I don't think you understand everything, Naruto. Sure, he can shrink objects, but when you look at it, those rods start out small and then he expands them, and they're so small that you don't even notice it. And my only nitpick on that would be, I know it's a chakra rod and it's probably got principles that are similar to what the Rinnegan users can use when they make their black receivers, but I would be very interested to know why Naruto in his Sage of Six Paths chakra mode can't sense those rods coming, unless it's one of those instances where he's fighting someone with so much bloodlust that it's one of those moments where he isn't fully able to track it. That's the only thing I could think of, is because of how intense the battle situation is, that Naruto knows Jigen's launching an attack, but he doesn't know specifically that it's the chakra rods. If it's something like that, I can kind of forgive that, because it's one of those moments where, I mean, damn, I get it. But the other thing is how when Jigen is interrupting Sasuke, he says, okay, I should have known. Not only do you have that Rinnegan, but you also have that Sharingan, and then you've got your own natural gift for breaking down things and analytics. And what I like about this is how that's basically the same thing that we said about Itachi. How when Itachi was fighting against Nagato, he only saw Nagato use the Rinnegan Jutsu less than a handful of times when he was fighting against Naruto and Killer Bee. And yet he was already breaking down the weaknesses of those Jutsu. And as soon as he got free, you saw him just dismantling all of Nagato's Rinnegan Jutsu as they're being used. And Sasuke, if you go back to the Naruto manga, Sasuke is being built up as a character who could surpass Itachi. And we all know that he did, but there was some debate whether or not Itachi was still more intelligent than Sasuke. I think this chapter kind of puts that to rest. Well, you see right here just how far advanced Sasuke is with strategy, and Jigen acknowledges him. He says, you're the one that I should be focused on. You're the greater threat. You're the one who needs to be taken out. And as soon as Jigen begins to attack again, Sasuke is saying there are other secrets. There are other secrets that he has. Jigen launches those attacks. Naruto's asking, well, what are his other jutsu? What are they, Sasuke? And what's really crazy is Sasuke's predicting that Jigen's about to attack again, and we find out that basically Jigen, he can't absorb chakra and move at the same time. And I like that, because Jigen at this point, to be doing this well against Naruto and Sasuke, there have to be some built-in weaknesses, even with that Asusuke transformation that he has at the end of the chapter. I like the fact that there are weaknesses and they are being exploited. So I like how Naruto used that giant Rasengan, and it's to basically say, I don't know where these chakra rods are coming from, but I'm going to create so much chakra in such a vast amount of size, so much volume, that's going to just shred all your chakra rods. And Jigen catches on to it, and when Naruto and Sasuke go into attack again, Jigen manifests one more of those chakra rods. He blocks their attacks, and you see right away that Sasuke is tracking him. And for those of you who need to know, well, how Sasuke tracking him, one of the other abilities of the Sharingan Eye Insight is that you can see chakra on a molecular level, but you can also see chakra as a color. And so when Jigen's shrinking himself like this, you have to keep in mind that Sasuke can still track exactly where he is. When Jigen says that Sasuke is the more dangerous one, that's not to say that Sasuke is more powerful than Naruto, but Sasuke has more hack. He has more things that can be applied. That's why I've always said, like, Naruto is physically stronger and has more chakra than Sasuke, but Sasuke balances it out with the hacks abilities of his dojutsu. One has the sage's body, the other has the sage's eyes. I really like how you see that in that moment, and how they're working together, and how Naruto uses another giant Rasengan, and Jigen realizes, oh god, they figured out my weakness, and Sasuke's about to pierce this dude with his sword. And what I like about this is how Jigen admits that he can't move swiftly, he can't really move while he's absorbing any type of jutsu. So I like that moment, and I like how Jigen acknowledges, he says, I guess all abilities do have weaknesses, but I'll return the favor. I'll let you guys know you're never again going to be as lucky as you are. And Naruto's looking at him and doesn't realize that that's an Asusuke transformation, but Sasuke's essentially shitting himself. I really like this chapter. As far as the action sequences, Ikimoto did a good job. Like I said, the only real nitpicks I would have on the action sequences are like when Sasuke's drawing his sword to attack Jigen, when he and Naruto are about to fight, exactly when Jigen is about to shrink himself. Sasuke, there's a bit of an awkward angle when Sasuke's swinging his sword. That's my only nitpick as far as with the action sequences. So I mean, overall, don't really rate chapters, but if I had to rate this chapter, I give this one a strong 4.5 out of 5. I mean, this was good. This is good. So my chapter question for you guys is, what do you think about Jigen's abilities to be able to shrink those chakra rods and then expand them in size, and then being able to absorb jutsu and not being able to move? How do you feel about Jigen having weaknesses with this jutsu exposed so quickly? That's my chapter question. And the second chapter question I have for you guys is, what do you think about the decision to move Naruto and Sasuke to a neutral territory to where they can fight all out? Are you okay with this? I suspect a lot of you guys are, but I really want to get a temperature, because there are some people who really wanted to see the next generation contribute. And I think this is the same thing you're seeing in the Boruto anime, where when Sasuke was about to attack Urashiki, he tells Boruto that this guy's outside of your league right now. I think that this was the smart idea. I'm a big proponent of the fact that we need to have Naruto and Sasuke fight the inner members of Kar, and the outer members, that's who Boruto's generation needs to cut their teeth on. But I want to know from you guys what you think about that. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.